channel. Today we're going to be working on installing my new fuel pumps. In the GTR you have two fuel pumps in there. You have a first and a secondary. I'm installing the 340 AEM fuel pumps so that I can run ethanol or flex fuel through my Nissan GTR. So let's get into the video.
Alright, so here's the shield. So you'll have to use a star-headed screwdriver to loosen those up, and then this piece will just end up popping off. Under there you're going to have these sensors, so we're going to go ahead and loosen up these sensors. Now we just got to drain the fuel pressure by starting the car. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and start it and release the fuel pressure. So now the fuel pressure is released. Alright guys, so with the ratcheting wrench, I'm going to pull off this negative cable and pull that off. And make sure that you set it completely to the side to where it cannot touch any metal, or else it will end up supplying power to the car. Alright, so here's these. So I'm going to have Wyatt show you guys the white tabs you're going to have to push in.
Alright, so they're just going to be these guys on the side. They just have little detents they slide into. It should just slide off nice and easy.
And then you will have fuel that comes out, so just make sure to have a rag underneath there because there will definitely be some fuel. So now the next thing that we're going to be removing is there's these bolts, and it looks like that they are an 8mm. So make sure to remove those bolts and go slowly just so that you don't strip those bolts. Look at them knuckles. Those are some mechanic knuckles. So now the next step is we're going to be lifting up the fuel assembly. There's this little black ring that's on top that you can pull out and just kind of set aside. It's just to also make sure that everything seals nice and neat.
Set this on thing.
Now it's low and easy.
Yeah.
Okay, so you see where that lump is?
Yep.
For the fuel pump?
I have to reach down to the front of it and then pull up on a tab.
Alright, so now we've got that released. So there's a little tab that we'll show you guys once we get this out. But that will release it off of the track, and then make sure to take this out at an angle. And it will come out. Just be very patient with it.
The next day.
Alright, so the next thing to watch out for is you've got these fuel lines that are on the bottom. There's 3 of them. You have one that's going to be at a 90-degree angle, and then you're going to have 2 other ones. And there's these little green tabs. I don't know if you can see it, but there's these little green tabs on there that will let you separate it. And then there's these ones. So these are your 2 fuel pumps, and this one is your fuel return line. So
just make sure not to force anything because plastic is brittle and definitely likes to break on you.
These are the new fuel pumps. These are the AEM 340. These are the ones that I picked up. Make sure that you guys have this number of fuel pump as the 50-1215. If you don't, it ain't gonna fit and you're gonna run into a lot of issues. Alright, so to begin, we are gonna be taking this little clip off of the return line. So make sure you have that off or it'll be a pain to separate. And then you've got this right here. It'll just pop right out. So just make sure not to grab any of the electrical wires because they will just come off. And then next you're going to clamp these 2 with a needle nose pliers and pull up on that tab, and that'll help separate the pump. And so do that all the way around. Alright, so now that we got all those tabs out, we have it all separated. So separate this from this, and then we'll be back. These are those filters, and this is the bottom piece. So these are your socks that you'll want to end up replacing down the road. My car has 35,000 miles on it. As you can tell, they're pretty dirty. So down the road, I'll definitely be pulling this out again. And I'll tell you, I'm not looking forward to it, but
for sure. We're
going to pull these pumps out, and the first step is there's these tabs that are all around. So you've got a tab here, a tab here, a tab over here, and a tab here on each of those. and then you can just pull those pumps out. So we're gonna get those out and I'll be back. Well, White is separating these pumps. So you're gonna get these AAM pumps. They're gonna look like this. You're gonna get a harness and some new O-rings. And then you're gonna get this little sock, and unfortunately this will not replace those stock socks. It will not fit. So this is just an extra piece in case it is a direct filter to hook onto the bottom of these pumps. And so where ours is not, we just have this pump, these O-rings, and this harness. So we'll be back. So this is the stock pump, the sock, and this is the new pump. Okay, so in between you're gonna have a little room that you can just pry with a flathead screwdriver, and then that'll just pop out. So make sure to pull this off of your old pump, and then you'll make sure to put a new O-ring right there. And then there won't be an O-ring back here, so don't put an O-ring there. It will just push right in. Then you'll see these black O-rings in there. Just make sure you remove those with a flathead screwdriver, because if you try and put the new ones in, put those O-rings in, your pumps are not going to work.
So on the O-ring, you're going to want to put just a little bit of grease or even Vaseline, just some type of lubricant. That way it slides in easier, because you don't want to nick the O-ring, which would cause it to not seat properly.
And you're not going to get a clicking noise or anything. You just want to make sure that that little gap in between there is sealed up properly. And so this little black nipple back there, it'll be sticking out if it's seated properly. Alright, so with the AEM pumps, you are going to have a little bit of a gap in there. So just to let you guys know, so don't freak out. It is installed correctly, and when you put it back in here, as long as these tabs lock, then you've got it installed correctly. Alright, so the fuel pumps are in. Now make sure to go ahead and connect them. And then we're going to start getting this fuel system put back together, and then we'll start the install. Okay, so don't forget to put this on. You will regret it. And don't forget to put this back on. Those are the only two things that you need to be connecting at the moment on the pump. Alright, so time for some fishing for them fuel lines, just so that we can make sure we get them all put back on. And we're going to get the fuel pump put back in, and if you have questions on how to put it back together, make sure just to follow this video in reverse. All put back together. So we're going to go put back the battery, and then we're going to give it a test start. Moment of truth after I get my keys. Okay, moment of truth. It will take a minute to start because you obviously had no fuel pressure in the fuel system. But we're just going to get everything bolted back up, and then we'll be good to go. Time for the test drive. By the way, I'm running on a stock Cobb Stage 3. My air to fuel ratio is running at a 14.45, which is a little bit high for idle, but we'll be good. What up? And there's Wyatt! Alright guys, so we just took it on a test drive. Everything is working amazing. Go ahead and like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos.